Hello.
What's up, homie, huh?
Have you ever encountered with games that are simply impossible? Go to the end, attempt after attempt, life beyond light doesn't work. Well, now you can just turn to the internet, learn the game walkthrough and easily to cope with the problem level. Or maybe just quit the game and limit it to just watching the finale, but earlier on similar it was possible and not dream. To find out how this or that ended the video game and had to go through the very end. Alas, it did not always help and some finals remained for many riddles, but today we unveil the veil of secrecy. Let's find out what ended the game. Familiar to everyone, go! Flappy Bird. This simple toy Dong Nguyen Vietnamese designer and game developer in just a few weeks brought the whole world together. According to the author of the creation, Flappy Bird took him only a couple of days, and by the way, initially it was called Flap Flap, but here's the trouble: in the App Store toy with this, the name was already due to this fact the new name, Flappy Bird, has appeared. Thus May 24, 2013 game debuted at App Store. Until October almost no one knew about her, and then as if something clicked and the game became viral. Seemed like on social networks talked only about her. Users did memes and shared their indignation. It turned out that past Flappy Bird almost impossible. One of the players even declared that it took him half an hour to score only 5 points. The overall impression can be expressed in one: the phrase, "I hate this game but I can't stop." Under such conditions, it seemed what to get to the end of Flappy Bird than possible physically. No one has the nerves. Nonetheless, people tried hard and it seems like someone all the same it was possible. Well, the game ends exactly as it should. Everyone's annoying game and who plays it. Gaining 999 points. Bird meets Mario and end. Imagine myself playing disappointment. Pac-Man. When it comes to classic video games, immediately everyone recalls Pac-Man. This is a visually simple arcade-created Japanese company Namco and released in 1980. The player's task: driving Pac-Man eat all the dots in the maze and avoiding meeting with the ghosts who chase the hero. Each ghost has its own model behaviors. For a while they moved slower Pac-Man, but after 20 level 1 are accelerated and the game it becomes much more difficult. But is it possible to win? What really stubborn players found that everything is pretty ambiguous. According to the developers, Pac-Man should have no end since the increasing complexity of the game did not allow would go far, but they are clearly underestimated the popularity of the arcade. So some players were able to get through 255 game levels, what occupied several hours, and at 256 level detect a manifestation of a software error about existence which even the developers did not suspect. One of such dedicated lovers Pac-Man was Billy Mitchell. July 3, 1999 years. No people scored one perfect result in 3,303,360 points on original Pac-Man and thereby entered history. But what still happens for beyond level 255? At level 256, left half maze displayed correctly, and on the right is a messy set multicolored numbers and letters and other characters, in general complete chaos. However, there is a way to pass this level. After level 256, the game resumes in conditions of level 1, but the enemies keep your higher speed. And if you handle it and then nothing will happen, you will simply be thrown into the menu and the game will offer start over. And it seems the most disappointing the ending you can think of. Battletoads are often called one of the most complex 8-bit video games era. She pretty much patted her nerves, and some probably even broke because of her gamepad. Once this game was created as a rival to a series of games about Ninja Turtles, but very quickly became absolutely independent work. In the 90s, full passage Battletoads was considered unbelievable and heroic. Even serious game observers criticized Battletoads for complexity, and some players described it as transcendental. also caused a negative reaction. Uneven complexity so destroy many stage bosses were much easier. The simpler to get to them, the less game became an unconditional hit. And so what awaited the most stubborn and lucky gamers at the end of those epic Toad adventures? As the final boss, Battletoads on top of the Dark Towers face the Dark Queen. After defeat, she is like a good villain, declares that this is not the end, swirls into a whirlwind and flies into space with the rescue of Pimple and the Princess Angelica. Foursome returns on Vulture and the game ends with captions. Contra. Like many other arcade games, the game plot Contra was pretty ordinary. Defeat the villains. This time in quality they were the organization of the Red Falcon. Set the task, destroy all of humanity. Villains, aliens, control all these. Must be two fighters, Bill Mad Dog RZA and Lance Scorpion Bean. They land on an island to destroy the base and save the world, getting deeper and deeper. Heroes understand that they need more than just exterminate the terrorists, but also destroy Alien Heart in Alien Lair, local main boss, and this task is not from the lungs. The final scene of the game, a helicopter flying away from an island that explodes colorfully for an 8-bit game, of course. After appear congratulatory credits who report that the villain is destroyed and the Earth is saved, and the player can consider himself a hero. Donkey Kong. Another arcade game released by Nintendo in 1981, it's one of the earliest examples of the genre platform games where the gameplay focused on maneuvering the main hero on a number of platforms and jumping through obstacles. In the game, Mario, originally named Mr. Video as well, then Jumpman, must save the lady in trouble. She was called Paulina, although initially limited to the faceless lady, but as the villain here stands a giant monkey named Donkey Kong. The hero and the monkey later became one of the most popular and recognizable Nintendo characters. Donkey Kong is considered one of the most important projects in the golden age of arcade video games, as well as one of the most popular arcade games of all time. And it seems that the developers suspected how cool things are created because made 3 Donkey Kong at once. Different ending. First, Mario drops a monkey and reunites with home on top. The second, Mario drops the monkey on himself and dies, and the lady stays upstairs alone. And the third is perhaps the strangest. Mario drops a lady and connects with the monkey. No, seriously, even appears over them heart, and it seems they are both a little confused like us. Tetris. After the games, the creators of which did not even invent in worthy completion, somehow you do not expect that with Tetris, everything will be different, but serious, a game where you need to put the figures. However, there are 2 options for ending, and depending on the type of game. In one player, winner meets classic video game characters and pixel temple its domes like a small rocket flies away somewhere outside the frame. As if before this picture was not enough weird, in the second version of the finale, the temple already flies away entirely, and all this under perky music, and after the player is offered to enter his name in the high score table. Earthworm Jim. Superhero worm mutated from contact with unique spacesuit. Sounds like complete nonsense. However, this story has become a cult among video games by itself. What else to Super if you don't save the princess? Besides of this, he constantly has to fight with antagonists who wish to seize a spacesuit. The game ends with Jim defeating all the enemies and also saves the princess. Nevertheless, she doesn't have time to properly respond to feelings. The princess is just trampling flying cow that was launched in the beginning of the game by Jim himself. The upset hero goes away, and princess with a cow fall in lava. However, a few seconds later Jim comes back and takes the gold crown. Princesses really don't disappear. Same good. Duck Hunt. If you grew up in the 90s, you are probably familiar with this game, and she was just incredibly popular. Just more than 28 million were sold instances of the game, what makes Duck Hunt second by selling the game on NES. The player needed to get 1 or 2 ducks flying out of grass depending on the type of game selected. By plot. Ducks forced to take off nameless hunting dog. 3 rounds are given to the target. When hit, the dog protrudes triumphantly from the grass with prey, laughs when he misses. Meanwhile, Game Daily and the official Nintendo magazine included this too funny dog in their lists of the greatest moments of video games. But what about the finale Duck Hunt? For sure there should show something exciting. Alas, like many early video games, Duck Hunt has no physical ending. When the player reaches level 99 and passes it, level changes to 0 and starts a real reign of ducks, which is simply impossible get on. And even that is constantly laughing dog, in general, not at all what expect to receive as a reward. T-Rex game. Unlike previous games, every user has encountered this Google Chrome. You are trying to download any page when suddenly internet connection disappears for some reason. No matter how you remained without access to the network, and instead this Chrome offers to play in a simple pixel dinosaur game. Who needs to run forward and avoid obstacles by gaining points in his company? Waiting for a connection is much more fun. For the first time, T-Rex appeared in browser in 2014, and of course not without errors. For example, on older Android devices everything was terribly buggy, so the creators had to completely rewrite a simple toy. But now it's hard even imagine Chrome without it. Dinosaur in 2018 monthly game launched 270 million times. Reached what the creators had to give corporate administrators the ability to turn off the game. The fact is that school children, even adults, who should have worked too keen on the game. But like any other T-Rex game is the finale, right? Dinosaur accelerates, day gives way to night, and it doesn't can last forever. What does it say? Edward Young, new ex-Google Chrome engineer. It will take about 17 million to finish the game, years. But probably a space on the keyboard just can't stand it.